Do you know what the most populous freshwater island in the world is? If not, it's probably not what you'd expect. For reference, there are 37 ocean islands in the world with more than 2 million people living on them, but only one such island in all the rivers and lakes of the world. And it's not in New York City, the Great Lakes, or Lake Victoria. No, it's not in a lake at all. It's actually the second largest city in Canada, Montreal. Now, if you didn't know Montreal was an island, you're not alone, but this one river island is home to 5% of Canada's entire population, more than 2 million people, more than Manhattan or Cyprus, in an area a third the size of Oahu. It's the largest of the Hochelaga archipelago at the confluence of the St. Lawrence and Ottawa rivers, which in total has about 3 million people, with nearly all the major islands being densely populated. And you might not realize how weird this is, but it's super unusual for a river island to have this many people. There are thousands of similarly sized archipelagos in the world, but for the most part, they're too muddy and constantly shifting to support huge cities, especially this far north where it gets so cold that the river freezes over in winter. So why exactly is Quebec's largest city here of all places? Well, welcome to Why There, the show where I explain why your favorite places are in your favorite places. This episode, Montreal. For a clue, let's start with the name. Ile de Montréal, French for the island of Mount Royal, named for the 700-foot tall hill at the center of the island. This shows us that the archipelago isn't a low-lying shifting delta, but is actually comprised of protruding rocks that the river has to flow around, making them definitely sturdy enough to support a city. But other similar islands in the river don't have 2 million people. So what makes Montreal especially special? Well, let's look upstream. The St. Lawrence is one of the most important waterways in the world, acting as the sole natural drainage of the entire Great Lakes basin, allowing ships to travel from Duluth to Denmark without ever unloading, except one problem. Right south of the city are the Lachine Rapids, whose dangerous whitewater divided the watershed for hundreds of years, meaning that ships headed in either direction had to be unloaded and manually schlepped around on land, turning Montreal into the natural break of bulk city for the entire watershed. Which is why in 1642 the French Empire built a fort here to control this valuable trade route, with the city growing quickly soon thereafter, because although it is super cold here, the Great Lakes St. Lawrence corridor is still the only region of eastern Canada that can support a large population, and since Montreal is its natural geographic capital, it quickly became one of the most important cities on the continent. And in 1825, when a canal was finally built bypassing the rapids, it created fast-flowing water that could be used for mills to process the grain and lumber of Canada's vast interior, quickly turning Montreal into the industrial center of Canada as well. All this is why, for nearly all of post-colonial history, Montreal was the largest city in Canada, only being overtaken by Toronto in the 1970s, and still today being the largest port in eastern Canada. In a broader sense, Montreal is a huge geographic gift to Quebec, giving them the leverage to maintain a distinct French culture even after France lost the territory to England in 1763. Even though it's been over 250 years since they were ruled by France, Quebec has power thanks in large part to the crown jewel of Canadian geography, the island of Montreal. Montrealais, let me know what I missed in the comments down below, and everybody else let me know where you think we should go next. Thanks so much for watching. Follow for more.